Hello, everyone. Thanks for your patience. My name is Burr Stewart, and I'm a prolific YouTube publisher. And my goal today is to make it as easy as possible for you to consider making a video of your life. And I'm just going to share some of the things I learned in my own journey that might help you speed up that sub-hobby learning process, which it really is. It's a very absorbing thing. The first thing I want to do, which I hope will work, is show the difference between a still photograph and a video. Meet in the middle of the Inner Bay yard here. All in good fun for a train day to show off these diesels. In the background, you can see lots more diesels. We'll run those some other day. I just wanted to show you how much fun we have in the Inner Bay yard. Cool? Is that cool? Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing the difference between a still picture and a video, and this is why the entire world is basically converting to videos for all kinds of education, communications, and harassment of any kind. I know this is a railroad audience, and making a video is like running a railroad. You receive cars. I mean, a railroad goes from shippers shipping cars, they transport them to yards, they switch them out, and eventually deliver them to their final destination. In this case, we record video, we store and edit the video, which is kind of the tricky part, and then we publish the video in some way, and I'll get into that, what that means to publish it. But sending a video file to your friend can be hard if it's very large, which most video files are very large. So you need some online mechanism to say, just click this link and go to that video and you can watch it without downloading the video to your computer. And that's really the main point of this whole thing, just to understand what it means to serve a video file on the internet. So from the most basic, we're going to talk about taking a video with your cell phone. Hello, everyone. To using something like the Photos app on a Macintosh, and there's a similar video editing program on any PC, to sharing it with an email, which is the most basic way I just mentioned, but it's much easier to figure out how to serve it there. And it goes without saying that the reason I haven't made any progress on my layout in the last 3 years is because I spent all my time with all of this gear, and train cameras, microphones, all kinds of stuff. Then I wasted a tremendous amount of time editing videos, playing around with file managing, trying to keep track of files, and then, of course, sharing the videos. There are a lot of ways to do that with a YouTube channel, a website, or a blog, Facebook. A lot of people use, and of course, you can still send a file by email, but that gets tricky. You have to use Dropbox or something like that in order to give that large a file. So I'm just going to cover the basic what, why, when, and we probably won't have time for this, but I can take you through a quick tutorial just to do it on your cell phone while we're talking there at the end, but we'll see what happens there. So first is the what. What is a video? It's a moving picture, like I just showed you, and it's usually has both sounds and images, and that gets a little complicated too, because you've got both the sound, which is a file, and you have the pictures, the moving pictures, which is a file, and those two things go together to make a video. And if you get them out of sync, it looks really weird. So you don't want to have the person talking and the sound being at a different time. You've probably seen that somewhere. I think that's called latency, right? Where they're not in sync. Fortunately, the normal type of video file called an MP4 file includes the sound in it. So you don't have to worry about the sound separately. But when you're editing, you do. So, of course, the other thing is it could be a live event or it could be watching a past event. And my main point, of course, is to understand that a video is a digital file. And, of course, when we were growing up, it was all filmed. Video was filmed and it had to be processed in a darkroom, and then you had to splice it. And a lot of the language we use for editing video files is from the days when you were clipping parts out of a long reel of video tape. There's no videotape anyway. Now, it's just electronic files. But that's part of the challenge of the hobby, is just this sub-hobby is learning about the digital aspects of making a trained video. Anyway, like I keep saying, the most important thing is to understand if you don't have a video file, a computer file ending in .mov or .mp4, you don't have the video on your layout. And so the goal is to take the video, and then if you want to edit it and make it fancy, you can, but you still have to, that video is what it is you're sharing with people. Now, I don't know if you've seen this picture, but it's the classic storytelling picture from all time, from the Greeks and before that. This is how people tell stories. You have a goal, you're afraid, you develop the courage to jump into the ocean, struggle with the dragon at the bottom of the ocean, emerge victorious, and celebrate that you achieved some great thing. And this is all stories, whether it's progress on the stock market or anything else. You know, for a model railroad, you have various ways to use this classic storyline to create drama and interest. One is just the planning versus the building versus the operating of the layout. But you also have the railroad storyline of it starts in one place, it hauls to another place, and ends up in a destination. And, you know, really built in is you have a locomotive, a train, and a caboose. And that is the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story, is that train going through. And I'm amazed at the pains that I take to make an interesting video, and then I'll get somebody commenting saying, I just loved watching the train going by and getting to see all the different cars in it. And that was really the fun for them. And I realized when I'm rail fanning, that's the fun for me too. I see the engine, I see the cars, I see the caboose, and I'm done with that particular episode. And that's one of the reasons that trains make a great subject for a video. The question of why would you do this? You know, I would recommend against it. If you want to do model railroading, you don't want to waste your time taking a video, you want to do more model railroading. But sharing the hobby is fun too, so I guess I'm not going to go through all these why answers. It's fun to make a video and to watch it. I found some amazing new friends and helpers because I published my video. Actually, Scott is one of them in the back of the room, and he just called me up one day and said, I watched your video, can I come see your layout? We ended up coming over every week and running trains, and you know, he's a part of the regular crew that maintains and develops the layout. That's an example of how I've benefited from making videos. I mentioned that the future is video. And I have when I made the slide, I had 3,000 subscribers. Now I have 4,500 subscribers, and that was just, you know, a year ago or something. And that's people all over the world who are enjoying my videos, and sometimes I take videos of other people's layouts, and they get way more views than the videos of my layouts, which I don't understand what I think it has to do with the fact that I'm spending all my time making videos instead of working on the layout. And the last one there, I'm addicted and can't stop making them. That's the reason I'm making them. I can't break the addiction. And hopefully you'll be inspired by the clinic to just try it with your cell phone.
Do we need a new addiction?
Yeah. Exactly. And you know, when would you make a video? Well, to tell any kind of story. And another, of course, great reason is to record achieving a particular milestone, whether you want to celebrate that or just say, well, this is the state of my layout at this time. And I also find whenever I post a layout and say, what would you do about this situation? I'll get comments back, and people from all over the world will say, well, try this. You know, I use such and such a glue. And it's just a way of keeping a dialogue going with the modeling community, which is kind of neat. That it is. it's also really useful if you have operating sessions and people are coming that haven't been to your layout. They can watch the videos, get a sense of what the layout is about. So when they show up, they're not seeing it for the first time. And my favorite comment, people come in the room and say, wow, this looks way better than I did on the videos. I go, wow, that's good. I'm really glad to hear that. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And showing off is, the main reason to do it. The other thing that I really enjoy is when a particularly bad derailment or crash needs to be documented. And, that, unfortunately, you don't always get those live, but I like to go in, and if you follow my channel at all, Brian Elschlick, recently knocked over a live loaded gondola, and all of the ore in the gondola spilled down onto the main line and blocked it. So then I took a video. I showed all the spilled main line, and then took a video about the vacuum cleaners that I tried. I tried 3 different vacuum cleaners before I got rid of all the stuff that was blocking the main line. It's a really stupid video, but it's kind of fun to watch. Because it's people like to enjoy other people's mistakes, and that's way more fun than seeing someone else's success. And of course, when you're addicted, you make a video to maintain your dopamine level by posting it to YouTube and Facebook. And I just recently, in the last 48 hours, did this, but I won't talk about that. And of course, where you make it is another fun aspect. You obviously can make a train video on your own layout, and you can go to someone else's layout and make a video, and I've done some of that. You can go to a train show or convention, and I posted a video on the PNR convention, or the narrow gauge convention, I think, when it was in Tacoma, and that was enjoyed by a lot of people. And Larry Sloan went up to the PNR convention a couple of weeks ago and published a nice video where he just showed all the layouts that he had visited, but it's a way of enjoying that convention if you didn't get to go to it. And of course, there's always fun videos you can take at any prototype location, and I go down to Harkey Park often, which is where the BNSF main line is right along the shore there. So anytime I'm down there and there's a train, well, you see me with my cell phone taking a video of it and then posting it. And so on my channel on YouTube, there's prototype photos. I think it's called BNSF Trackside, but there's a whole bunch of pictures of interesting trains on there that just are there because I happen to take a video. So who makes it is another question. You obviously could have a professional videographer, and Lee just had the young people that do trackside model railroading, which is an online model railroad magazine, do this spectacular layout. And that's fun because you don't have to know anything about video. You just run the railroad and they set up all this fancy gear, and it's really fun. And then, like I said, Larry Sloan took some video last time he was at my layout and posted it. He's an amateur videographer who likes my layout. And then any visitor with a cell phone, and they often do this, and then, of course, you can do it yourself. That's the bottom line. And then, of course, you can have an obsession with gear and go crazy with all the stuff that you set up in order to take the video that has the perfect lighting and the perfect camera angle and everything else. But you don't have to do all that. So, there's gear, there's software, and there's the audience. And so I'm going to just show some pictures of some of the gear you can get into. I'll talk about some of the software, and then I'll talk about some of the audience. Is this making sense so far?
Sure.
So this gear thing is fun. There's a lot of YouTube videos you can watch about gear. Some of them are trying to sell you gear. But one of the important things I've picked up from watching a lot of these videos, and it goes without saying that every minute that I'm watching a YouTube video, I'm not working on my layout. And I want to stress that's important. The important takeaway from this clinic is don't do it. Right? So the most important thing is you don't need any gear to take plenty of great videos of your layout. All you need is your cell phone, which has a video camera in it. And you don't even need to edit it. because the fun is the train moving through the scene, and that's all you need. All this other stuff is just the normal human nature of perfectionism of wanting to get even better lighting or detail or resolution, camera resolution. You know, there are all these things. So I'll show some pictures of some of this, but it's not necessary. I guess that's all I'm saying. And then the same is true of software. And the same is true of sharing it with your audience. You can get carried away, or you can just send your friend the video and call it good. So for gear, there are these really cool brackets. They only cost, I don't know, $15 or something, that will hold your cell phone, and then you can screw it into a tripod, and that's incredibly valuable. And I don't know if any of you watched my virtual ops that we had during COVID, but Albany had run a train during that ops, but I hooked up the layout to JMRI to its web service so that you could log in from home and run the locomotive. And then I had 6 cameras hung from brackets in the ceiling around the layout on these with these little clips. And this just held the cell phone, and the cell phones were all logged into Zoom, and we were able to basically allow any operator to see the layout. It wasn't great, but it worked. And then, of course, there's something called a sidearm tripod. If you've never heard of that, you all know what a tripod is for taking a picture. But you can get a sidearm that allows you to put the camera over the layout. And this is my S-scale layout. But another way this could be done, see the bracket is way up there in this picture. But you could also rotate it and hang the thing underneath so you can get the camera right down close to the layout, over the layout, and stable. And then you could be free to run trains. This is an example of a little tiny portable tripod, which is just great. And you can see the picture that this little action camera is taking down the yard. And if you watch my videos, you'll see some fun switching that goes on in the yard, just taken from a camera like this. This is like a GoPro camera, just on a little tripod. And like I said, you can use a small tripod to get right down close to the ground if you want to. And then lighting on light stands is another thing that is helpful for having better lighting. I have really good track lighting, so I don't really tend to get into this, but that didn't keep me from buying $100 LED light.
Two of them.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Two of them.
One.
$200. Yeah. I could have bought an engine for that kind of money. So anyway,
You need one.
I needed it, and that Scott's got a good point. Yeah. So this is an example of a stereo microphone. At the top, they're pointing 2 different directions, and you can create audio. So when you're taking video, you can create separate recording of the sound. And stereo is kind of fun because you can have the engine go. Like I say, none of this is necessary. It's just fun.
Yeah.
I guess that's true of all model railroading, right? So then there's train cameras, which is a whole subject that I'm much of an amateur about train cameras. This is a GoPro camera on a depressed center flat car, in case you wondered why they invented depressed center flat cars. And one of my friends, Eric Van Nice, actually scratch built one with out of wood, so he could really get low. He used one of those really, really thin types of plywood, so he could really get the camera down and clear his obstacles. And then I also put a what's called a spy cam inside a gondola car, and this is a thing that's made to stick in your pocket with a little tiny color video camera in this. Right in here, there's a little tiny video camera in here where the circuitry is all in that box with a battery. And I have a couple of videos that actually show as if you were riding on the train car during the switching operation, which is kind of fun. And then I mentioned the brackets that I hung from the ceiling. And I just made those from a piece of, what's the stuff you put in the corner when you're sheetrocking? the steel
Corner bead.
corner bead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just took a corner bead, bent it in half, and cut it with chips. You can, anyway, you got the idea. Now, composition is just already been covered by Greg, if you were here for that this morning. But it's the rule of thirds where you want to do something in the corners of these splits in order to make the scene look interesting. This isn't a particularly good example, but it shows that I'm completely out of control of building the layout and not putting too much in it. And I can try to use composition to overcome my complete lack of discipline in designing layout. And Greg mentioned balance and symmetry too, which I'm not sure I understand particularly. But in this case, you've got a bridge over here and you've got a bridge over here, so they kind of balance each other out and makes the picture look a little better than it might otherwise look. And of course, the other thing is focus. And I have a picture here that I'm fond of, where you've got you have to focus somewhere. So I focused right in here so that you could get an idea of what was happening, but you're not necessarily focused in front and back. And it's kind of odd that these guys on the platform are also in focus, which is distracting to the eye. But anyway, you all know about focus and focal length. That's an issue for video, and that's one of the reasons it's worth having lots of lighting so that you have a reasonably small aperture and good focal length. Oh, this is the same picture up close here. So one of the challenges of the current day in video publishing is that everybody's all agog about TikTok. And TikTok is a video application that you hold vertically in your phone because everyone's now addicted to watching their phone like this. But the model railroad subjects are all horizontal because trains go from left to right. But all that YouTube and TikTok want to see is a vertical video. So if you look at my channel, you'll see me struggle with this. It's very difficult. I've done some what are called shorts, which is YouTube's answer to TikTok. But I don't particularly enjoy doing it because I would rather watch a train video in a horizontal format on a computer or on my phone. And I think it's pretty ridiculous that they can't get the young people to turn their phone like this to watch a video.
It's too hard.
I mean, it's just too hard. I mean, life is short, you know? So, I mean, here's an example of a horizontal format. How do you make a video format out of that that would be at all good? I mean, you can sometimes do it. This isn't terrible. Trains are inherently horizontal. I don't know that I have a solution, but the reason I bring it up is to make sure you're thinking about it before you start taking your video. Because unless you want to spend a lot of time editing, and even then you need to think about it. Because if you're going to edit a horizontal footage into a vertical composition, you need to be far enough back that you've got everything you need to condense it down into a smaller vertical format. I have taken scenes from the yard where we're switching in the yard, and I've created shorts out of just looking at down one track of the action in that one track, and it came out okay. But you do have to think about it. That's all I'm saying. The worst thing you can do is, I'm going to take a video of that, turns on the phone, presses play, and it goes like this. And I'm thinking, this is a horizontal subject. You're taking a video. Why are you taking a vertical video of a horizontal subject? And the answer is because I didn't think about it. So I'm just here to tell you, think about it before you press record. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about managing your video files.
All your apps on the screen.
Oh, you're laughing at all of them. This is my life.
You can still file it.
So, yeah, you can still put these in files. You don't need to do it actually. It doesn't look this bad now, but that doesn't matter. So the important thing to notice here is, first of all, I have two screens. So I'm managing files and I'm editing over here. But the most important thing to notice is that there are two sizes of little discs that the videos come out of your camera on. And that's a really important to understand. There's compact flash drives,
Yeah.
and then there's micro flash drives. And this is a holder that simply holds it so that I can put it in the slot in the computer that's only for this larger size. Now, I'm going into this great detail because of all the time I wasted trying to figure this out in the first place. Because I should have just called out. This little tiny thing comes out of your camera with gigabytes worth of video file on it, and you have to figure out how to get it into your computer and store it and not overload the capacity of your hard drive. You have to buy a new computer, which is what I ended up doing. But that's a whole other story. Taking a video of your layout is creating a digital file that's stored somewhere on a media, and you need to figure out some way to get it into your computer and to save it permanently in the cloud or somewhere so that you have it backed up and you're not going to lose it if you need it. And I find all of this extremely tedious, which is why I don't even maintain my desktop. I will do anything other than spend time maintaining computer files, but it's important to do. I have the same problem with cleaning up my workbench and a lot of other things. That's a close-up of the same thing, I guess. I just want to make sure you're aware of where is that video located. You know, there's laptop editors. This is a picture of a happy camper with his video editor over there.
Look at that boom on that microphone. Dude.
Yeah.
That's an engine.
Yeah, that's right. So this is a picture of the actual video editing software. The only point of this picture is I've got not one but two microphones that I'm trying to decide which one I like better. But here's a picture of the actual screen when we're editing. Remember that video I showed you that had a picture and this whole thing came up? So this is just an example of what it looks like. You have a horizontal timeline. You have the audio speaking in the bottom and the sounds of the engines, and then you have the pictures of the engine, and it's all shown together, and you have to make sure they're lined up. And this is a case where I put two different video images on the same place in the timeline, and that's why this is showing. And of course I have to go into the video editor to tell it to put it in the upper left-hand corner and to make it bigger, and all that stuff that you saw in the video are things that you create in the video editing software. It's sort of like editing a Word document if you're typing a letter, except that it's playing around with the location of the file in the screen, and how loud is the audio, and you can play with color corrections and all kinds of stuff. You don't think the green is the right BN green, you can change the color and do all kinds of ridiculous things that take time. Once you're done, you have the option to share the project. Once you save it, you can share it. But the software has a mechanism for saving the final video that you create and putting it, again, in the location. It's very important to make sure that you're keeping track of where you put all this stuff, or your world will look like this. But the point is here, this is a file I have called a Clinic on Making a Train Video, which is what we're watching. These are all of the still images that I used in making the slideshow. And down here is the MP4 video example that I showed you at the beginning of the picture. And this is an MP4 file, and all the rest of them are JPEG files, which are still photographs. But that video is there. And I just want to keep emphasizing that if you don't have a .mp4 file, you don't have a video. Now, in this case, it was edited in the editing software and saved as an MP4 file, but I could have used an original MP4 file that came right off my phone without editing it. It's optional if you want to edit it. If this looks complicated, it doesn't have to be. Now we can talk about sharing. We've got an MP4 file we want to share. So if you go into YouTube, it shows a bunch of videos to you that you can watch. And up here, it shows you. And if you go into your own your own account in YouTube, which in my case is called Much Fun with Trains, it shows you, among other things, YouTube Studio. And in YouTube Studio, you get to play with what your videos are. And you get to upload them. And so up here is a create button. When you press the create button, it says upload a video file. And so if you connect your video file, and of course, this is an infinite sucking sound, this sub hobby of creating video. You can also go live, which I've tried doing, and that's a colossal waste of time. But if you go live and you say, "Hi, this is Burr Stewart with a train layout," and what do you do? And then somebody logs into the live broadcast and says, "Well, what kind of engine is that?" And then you end up trying to figure out, you're going to type a response in the comments, or you're going to talk back to the person, and other people come in. And I won't go into YouTube. That's a whole other clinic. It's a whole world in there. But the point is that YouTube, which is set up to serve videos to the world, it's set up to do all this back-end work for you, just allows you to upload a video file into your account. And then you can publish it in your account and people can find it. And YouTube does all the work of alerting anybody who likes to watch train videos that you've published a train layout. And I get an email notification every time Bob Stafford publishes a YouTube video. I get an email saying, "Bob Stafford just published a YouTube video. Want to watch it?" And I say, yeah, I want to see what he's up to. So
This is also, you can do it privately too, so you're not sharing it with the entire world.
you can. That's a really good point. So you can just upload it to YouTube, make it private, and you can send a link to your video to your friends, and that's the end of it. It doesn't go public. You don't have to worry about security or somebody going to your house and robbing all your engines. And now I'm just taking you through what these screens look like. But and actually, I guess you just said what I was about to say. You can be unlisted or public or private. And you just press that publish button, and then it does the rest for you. And at some point, it shows up as the latest video that you published. Now, this is where we get to the addictive part of all this. This video has got 18 views since it was published. Now, that's what it says after, does it say how many minutes? So this is after 28 minutes. It's had 18 views. And I'm going, oh, cool. 18 people watched this in the last 28 minutes? Well, so then it goes on. Yeah, so this now says, it's just a few hours later. And it says, this video is ranked 3 of the last 10 videos you did. It's in 3rd place for how many people have watched it in the first 2 hours. And it's been watched by 63 people. So from half an hour to 2 hours, I went from 18 to 63 people watching my video. Now I'm really getting excited. Now look at this. This gray is my normal video's performance. Now this video that I showed you at the beginning of the talk is now climbing way ahead. Now you see how exciting this is to watch all this again? It's like, forget self-validation. I mean, this is YouTube validation. This is addictive. Like, I want to do this some more. So now we're at 300. See, it's now starting to taper off. Now this is where the problem comes in. When it's tapering off, what does that mean? I need to publish another video. I'm not going to keep getting more people watching, So anyway, I use YouTube to serve your videos. It's free, relatively easy, and as Jim noted, it provides you with a URL, so you can just send your URL. You don't have to send your friend a file. You send them a URL. They just click. Everyone know what a URL is?
No.
A URL is an address for
Universal Resource Locator.
It's an address for looking at anything on the internet,
Okay.
and it's just a single line bunch of gibberish. But when you click on it, it goes to whatever that place is in the internet, and it also is handy because it combines the social, it allows you to do vertical videos for people who can't rotate their phone. It has a lot of qualities of groups.io and stuff because you start to have communications with the people that watch your videos. They make comments, you make comments, and you can use a computer or just use your phone because YouTube has a phone app, which I would show you if this was a 2-hour presentation, but it's not. So this is my sequence of slides just showing you how you do this on a cell phone. You have to tell your YouTube, you have to tell your phone that you're okay with YouTube playing with it, and then you have to go through these various steps. We don't have time to go through the steps, but it's something you can do with your phone if you just sort of keep scanning for what are you supposed to do next. See, this is the point where it says upload the short, and you've said you want to make it public. And at some point, and then you give it a title and publish now. And there it is on your YouTube channel. Bang. Listed under your videos. So the point is, go do it. Good luck. And like I said before, don't go do it. Work on your layout. But I really just wanted to make sure it was clear that it's not hard and it's incredibly addictive. And it's just like every other aspect of model railroading. You can get lost in the weeds. I've done that. So if you have any questions, be sure to get in touch with me. I'd be glad to be a resource. Thousands of friends will be glad you did it. You'll see it work with different eyes. And it gives you excuses to buy more stuff. So I mentioned all the dopamine that comes from how many people watch your video. I didn't mention all the dopamine that comes from shopping for all the gear. I mean, that's a lot of fun too. And I mentioned you get new friends, and the learning curve gets better. And I've gotten a lot of ideas for improving the layout. And I already mentioned my channel is Much Fun with Trains, or Burr Stewart will work as well. And I hope this was helpful. Thank you.
Now,